A U.S. military operation in the eastern Pacific Ocean has brought renewed attention to how security, law enforcement, and geopolitics increasingly overlap at sea. According to U.S. military officials, American forces carried out a kinetic strike against a vessel suspected of transporting illegal narcotics along established maritime trafficking routes. 2 people on board the vessel were killed during the operation. The incident took place in international waters in a region long identified as a major corridor for maritime drug trafficking. Criminal networks operating from parts of South and Central America have for years relied on the Eastern Pacific to move large quantities of narcotics toward North American markets. These routes are difficult to police due to the vast distances involved and the constant adaptation of smuggling tactics. U.S. authorities state that the vessel was identified through intelligence-led monitoring and sustained surveillance. Maritime patrol aircraft, satellite systems, and naval assets were used to track the ship's movement over time. According to the military, the decision to use force followed an assessment that the vessel posed a security threat and was actively involved in illicit trafficking. Counter-narcotics operations in the Pacific have traditionally involved interception, boarding, and seizure, often conducted in cooperation with regional partners. The use of a kinetic strike represents a more forceful approach and highlights how operational choices are shaped by real-time intelligence, perceived risk, and the behavior of suspect vessels. U.S. officials emphasize that such decisions are taken within established rules of engagement and legal frameworks. The Eastern Pacific has become a focal point for U.S. counter-narcotics efforts because of the scale of maritime trafficking. U.S. Southern Command has repeatedly noted that a significant share of cocaine bound for North America transits this region. Traffickers frequently use fast boats, low-profile vessels, or semi-submersibles designed to avoid radar and visual detection, complicating interdiction efforts. From an operational perspective, the strike underscores the growing role of technology in maritime security. Persistent surveillance, data fusion from multiple sensors, and rapid command and control systems allow military forces to operate across vast ocean areas with a relatively small footprint. These capabilities reduce reliance on constant physical presence while increasing the ability to act quickly when targets are identified. The legal context of such operations is central to understanding their implications. The United States maintains that counter-narcotics missions conducted in international waters are consistent with international law and bilateral agreements with partner nations. However, the use of lethal force in operations linked to law enforcement objectives raises ongoing questions about proportionality, accountability, and transparency. Geopolitically, operations of this kind serve more than a single purpose. They disrupt criminal supply chains, but they also signal U.S. commitment to maritime security in the Western Hemisphere. By demonstrating the ability to detect, track, and neutralize threats far from its coastline, Washington reinforces deterrence against transnational criminal organizations and underscores its capacity to project power at sea. There are also broader implications for global trade and maritime stability. Many drug trafficking routes overlap with major commercial shipping lanes used for container traffic, energy shipments, and bulk goods. Criminal activity in these areas increases risks for civilian vessels and can indirectly affect insurance costs, port security measures, and perceptions of regional stability. Technology continues to reshape how such operations are conducted. Modern counter-narcotics missions depend heavily on intelligence dominance rather than visible force. Unmanned systems, advanced analytics, and secure communications allow authorities to maintain awareness and respond selectively. This approach reflects a wider shift in how states address security challenges that fall below the level of conventional armed conflict. Regional reactions to the incident have been limited, but past operations have shown that partners in the Pacific Basin pay close attention to how force is used. Many countries cooperate with the United States on maritime security and counter-narcotics, while also emphasizing the importance of sovereignty and adherence to international norms. Historically, the U.S. military has supported counter-drug efforts for decades, but its role has evolved. What were once primarily law enforcement-led missions now increasingly involve military capabilities, reflecting both the scale of trafficking networks and the strategic importance Washington assigns to disrupting them. Looking ahead, U.S. officials indicate that operations in the Eastern Pacific are likely to continue, as long as demand for narcotics remains high and trafficking networks remain adaptable. Maritime interdiction will remain a core element of U.S. security policy. The challenge will be balancing effectiveness with legal constraints, humanitarian considerations, and regional diplomatic sensitivities. In this broader context, the recent strike should be seen not as an isolated incident, but as part of a sustained approach to maritime security. It illustrates how military force, law enforcement objectives, and geopolitical signaling increasingly converge in the world's oceans, shaping security dynamics far beyond the immediate scene of the operation.